This post will be rushed with bayonet and no one allowed to escape. Firing must be avoided, as it is important not to alarm troops further north.
Rushed with bayonet. It's difficult to imagine giving an order like that today, but 100 years ago, during the First World War, that's exactly the order that was given to the New Zealand Mounted Rifles as they prepared to advance on Beersheba, which can be seen behind me. Of course, it looked a lot different back then.
The attack on Beersheba was more than an attack on an isolated garrison. Beersheba was the pivotal point of a new strategy to break the stalemate of an Ottoman stranglehold on Gaza and the Tel el Saba line. But not only was the taking of Beersheba critical for success, it was essential for the Anzac Division's very survival. The long trek across the desert had exhausted the division's water supplies, and the only source for miles were the wells inside Beersheba itself. If the Allies failed to take the town, and more importantly the wells intact, then the battle would be lost.
The problem was the enemy held Tel el Saba, this heavily defended hill from which any advance onto Beersheba would be cut to pieces. Before any direct attack on Beersheba could occur, Tel el Saba needed to be captured, and this crucial task fell to the New Zealand Mounted Rifles.
There was no doubt Tel el Saba was the key to the position. When the enemy lost that, he had to retire. I got the artillery to open fire and directed their fire onto the machine guns. This ensured our men were able to get up the hill, and we advanced very quickly. The ground was very rough. Large boulders covered the ground. We were near the second position. The enemy was shelling hard. Then, the final rush. We took the hill. I got to a position where I could see ahead, and a great sight suddenly sprang up. On our left, lines and lines of horsemen moving. The enemy were on the run, and the Oz Division were after them. The fire slackened, and it seemed that Beersheba was ours.
The battle for Tel el Saba raged for just over 6 hours and is but one of many battles fought in the Sino-Palestine campaign of the First World War. As the commanding officer of the last serving Mounted Rifles Regiment in the New Zealand Army, it is both an honour and a privilege to be here, along with the RSM and 8 other soldiers of the regiment, to pay tribute and remember those who came before us. Personally, as we visit the battlefields and the cemeteries here in Israel, it has allowed me to put into context how the battles were actually fought and the conditions in which the soldiers had to survive and fight these battles. And for that, I feel very lucky and very privileged. It reminds me that at the heart of any war is sacrifice and human suffering. And it is important that we don't forget that and remember those who have died and served before us. So today, 100 years after the Battle of Tel el Saba, here in Israel, we remember the sacrifices of all Kiwis who fought in the Sinai-Palestine campaign and honour those who never made it home.